The primroses were over. Towards the edge of the wood, where the ground became open and sloped down to an old fence and a brambly ditch beyond, only a few fading patches of pale yellow still showed among the dog's mercury and oak tree roots. On the other side of the fence, the upper part of the field was full of rabbit holes. In places the grass was gone altogether, and everywhere there were clusters of dried droppings, through which nothing but the ragwort would grow. 100 yards away, at the bottom of the slope, ran the brook, no more than 3 feet wide, half choked with kingcups, watercress, and blue brook lime. The cart track crossed by a brick culvert and climbed the opposite slope to a 5-barred gate in the thorn hedge. The gate led into the lane. The May sunset was red in clouds, and there was still half an hour to twilight. The dry slope was dotted with rabbits, some nibbling at the thin grass near their holes, others pushing farther down to look for dandelions or perhaps a cowslip that the rest had missed. Here and there one sat upright on an ant heap and looked about, with ears erect and nose in the wind. But a blackbird singing undisturbed on the outskirts of the wood showed that there was nothing alarming there, and in the other direction, along the brook, all was plain to be seen, empty and quiet. The warren was at peace. At the top of the bank, close to a wild cherry where the blackbird sang, was a little group of holes, almost hidden by the brambles. In the green half-light at the mouth of one of these holes, 2 rabbits were sitting together side by side. At length, the larger one of the 2 came out, slipped along the bank under cover of the brambles, and so down into the ditch and up into the field. A few moments later, the other one followed. The first rabbit stopped in a sunny patch and scratched his ear with rapid movements of his hind leg. Although he was a yearling and still below full weight, he had not the harassed look of most outskirters, that is, the rank and file of ordinary rabbits in their first year who, lacking either aristocratic parentage or the unusual size and strength, get set on by their elders and live as best they can, often in the open, on the edge of their warren. He looked as though he knew how to take care of himself. There was a shrewd, buoyant air about him as he sat up, looked round, and rubbed both front paws over his nose. As soon as he was satisfied that all was well, he laid back his ears and set to work on the grass. His companion seemed less at ease. He was small, with wide staring eyes and a way of raising and turning his head which suggested not so much caution as a kind of ceaseless nervous tension. His nose moved continually, and when a bumblebee flew humming to a thistle bloom behind him, he jumped and spun round with a start that sent 2 nearby rabbits scurrying for holes before the nearest. A buck with black-tipped ears recognized him and returned to feeding. "Och, it's only Fiver," said the black-tipped rabbit. "Jumping at bluebottles again. Come on, Buckthorn, what were you telling me?" "Fiver," said the other rabbit. "Why is he called that?" "5 in the litter, you know. He was the last and the smallest. You'd wonder nothing had got him by now. I always say a man couldn't see him and a fox wouldn't want him. Still, I admit he seems to be able to keep out of harm's way." The small rabbit came closer to his companion, lolloping on long hind legs. "Let's go a bit further, Hazel," he said. "You know, there's something queer about the warren this evening, although I can't tell exactly what it is. Shall we go down to the brook?" "All right," answered Hazel, "and you can find me a cowslip. If you can't find one, no one can."